Yo, so I know AD. I know we only got you for a limited time. Episode. Well, first off, I just want to start this episode by saying Happy Juneteenth.
Word.
Word. Favorite app, bro. Anytime in the building. We got
Yeah, it's funny. Isn't Juneteenth now like a holiday? A lot of these companies.
Yo, but that's the crazy thing. So we got AD and we got my man Easy Rose out here. The funny thing is, when I saw the email from my job come through, I actually started doing research, and I think I don't have the exact states, but I think only 5 states don't recognize Juneteenth as a holiday. And it's not like a national holiday. I guess it's like one of those things that you can give it or not.
Yeah, floating holiday.
So, I guess I want to start this pod by saying everyone has Google, but people who are listening may not know what Juneteenth is. Funny enough, I think the first time I heard about Juneteenth was from that Atlanta episode.
Really?
I think that was the first time. I mean, I think I heard about it before, but I think the first time I seen it in like mainstream media and was like, oh shit, like this is funny.
Well, I guess Atlanta episode did its job, huh?
Yeah, I feel like I heard it before then, but like that, like Atlanta episode was definitely the first time like it stuck in my mind. I was like, oh shit. But yeah, for those listening, I'll put this article in our notes, but basically June 19th was the announcement that came 2 years after Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. Basically, there were 250,000 enslaved people in Texas who were free, but they just didn't get the message. So,
yeah, they didn't know.
So basically it's an important holiday. And it's important to recognize that I think to me it's important to recognize because information is key and important. And if you don't have information, you will be ill-informed. You guys got any plans?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Only thing I say to that is like, yeah, I definitely agree with you. However, I mean, there were still slaves in America after that, and there's still slaves in America now. Like if you look at the prison system, I feel like they just calling it another name. So I mean, on one point, yeah, on paper, I get it, but like, yo, we still got a ways to go. Like,
I mean, what the 13th Amendment basically says that if you go to jail, I gotta go back and refresh myself on it. You're basically a slave.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, I got mixed feelings about that. Just because, like, on paper, yeah, it's called one thing, but in reality, you know, it's still slavery. We just calling it something else.
Yeah. It's slavery rebranded. All right. So last pod we talked about a lot of heavy stuff, which is natural because of what's going on. I got some ad stuff that I wanted to bring up. A little bit. I guess some of this is should you care, but for some of y'all, this is a little bit old, but still good news. Facebook bought Giphy, so I guess my question is, how do you guys feel about Facebook purchasing something as big as Giphy? They bought it for $400 million, which actually sounds kind of low. I think. I mean, if you think about where people get gifts from, it sounds kind of low.
I mean, low is that's relative though. It's like Giphy is not shipping a physical product. So, shit, that's a sweet-ass deal, if you ask me.
Oh, that's true. But also, I mean, I guess is Facebook monopolizing? I mean, they have Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Come on, bro. This is America, man. Come on, Tony. How many Ad Bro episodes have you done, bro? You've been a producer of this since we started. What did Rose tell you?
Living in America.
Yeah. The theme of America is to dominate, bro.
God
You heard
damn.
what your president said. He want the military to dominate the protesters. So this is American pie, man. Yeah, he's this idea that Facebook literally is the internet. Well, yeah.
Facebook and Google and Amazon, bro. That's it.
Yeah. Top 3 companies, bro. I mean, not even Apple is the internet, but a lot of people use their devices, right? But yeah, nah, man. Here's the thing. It makes sense for them to buy it. Doesn't make sense, right? Does it like pushes out the small guy? I don't even know who the small guy is now, no more, to be honest with you. Because the small guys want to be part of the big guys. And Giphy, I mean, you can natively use it on like most phones. But I mean, let's be honest, Giphy was just stealing fucking artwork anyway, right? Right? Some tech company out of Silicon Valley or wherever the fuck they're located, they literally don't create content, right? The content that's created is either repurposed content from like other, IP content creators, whether they're filmmakers or illustrators or whatever. They just allow people to take shit that's already out there, whether it's their own personal photos or shit that's already on the internet, and animate it and allow you to send it to your friends and you give all that shit. So I just feel like that's easy as money. So fuck them. If they want to be a part of a big global company like that, that's prerogative, man. I don't give a shit. But I just think it's funny, though, that companies that are literally creating nothing are getting big checks to do nothing.
Yep. Yeah, I agree with that. I think what's more interesting for me is just like a lot of the people who are actually might have gone viral by posting something on social media via Facebook or Instagram, like, and they've turned into gifts. Like, what's the payout for those people? Is there a payout because like, they posted is public domain and then we've talked about this, like giving your content away for free. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like now you see the value when they put a dollar value behind it. Now people say, oh shit, like damn, these people, I'm getting shared everywhere. I'm seeing myself everywhere. And now it's like, damn, I didn't even get paid for none of that. But they're profiting off of me. So
honestly, that's a good point, because I wonder, like, funny enough, I was on this Twitter thread, and it was people posting clips from The Wire that became gifts. And I just to your point, I just wonder, like, yo, like, as an actor, is there I mean, technically Giphy isn't film, so this gets into like producer nerd talk, but it's like, can SAG,
it's a moving image.
Can SAG hit them with fees because like, you took my image from the show and it's been shared 1 million times, so I need 10% of whatever ad dollars, whatever, or 0.10%. How do you quantify it? Is it like streaming numbers? You be like, all right, you get 10 cents every time.
It could be. And like, so I think that's even like a different conversation. That's a really good conversation, right? But I'm just more so talking about the people, like the everyday people, like you. And it's like, like the little, you ever see the little kid and he's in a car with his mom and he's like, where we about to eat at, right? Like that little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
It's like, I mean, now I know he's been able to get interviews. He's like an influencer now. I think that exploiting him, but that's another conversation. But like, this kid is gonna share it everywhere, and he's a gift. He's a GIF. GIF, whatever. So
I mean, whatever. GIF. I don't own either one of those names, so I care less.
Yeah.
Right.
Some more Facebook news. Facebook. This is again a little old, but still relevant. I thought it was interesting that during the pandemic, Facebook and Instagram started rolling out shops and they were turning small businesses and business profiles into storefronts on Instagram. I noticed it on Instagram mostly, but like basically during the pandemic, I think you could buy items from a small business through Instagram. I'm not really sure about Facebook because I'm not on it, but like I assume they did the same thing. What else? Two other things, and then I have a big topic to ask you guys about. Twitter, again, a little old, but still relevant. Twitter added a fact check to Trump's tweets, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I saw that. About time.
A little troll in there.
And then he turned around and did his thing, right? You know, made it where anybody can sue these social media companies.
Yeah, of course, because he's petty.
He petty as fuck, man.
He's from Queens, right?
I mean, we don't claim him, but yeah.
Tony.
And then I read this article that was pretty interesting, talking about the future of film, which I thought was interesting because if you think about the future of commercials and film, like I guess the question for you guys is, what does advertising look like moving forward? Because I think it's interesting that if you think about shoots and content and stuff we had to create, a lot of times there were all these line items of people and things you need, but a lot of people have been able to create and get things out the door without those people. So it's just like, is the future look like, do you cut back on people you need on set or to create things, or do you invest and double down and be like, you know what, that was just what we did because we had to do it, but now we gotta go back to the regularly scheduled programming?
I know, man, as a creator and as a designer, advertising in terms of producing content is, in my opinion, going to be mostly driven by either media buyers or strategists at this point. Because the days of just creating campaigns for the sake of something that looks cool, I think those days are over. You know what I'm saying? So I just think the future of advertising is going to be 100% driven off user engagement, metrics, and media placement. Like, it's funny, it's always the swinging of the pendulum. Like, you know, we always have agencies, we always have initiatives that's either creatively driven at first, and then it was always, you know, then it swing over to like, oh, it's media driven. And I think now it's going to be somewhere in between, because let's be honest, a creator now can launch a campaign that can compete with any ad agency literally from their phone, right? And it don't have to be some visceral, highly produced content. It can be just enough cool content that captures somebody's attention, and that's all that matters. Hey, we just talked about Jiffy, Giphy, however you want to pronounce it. I mean, let's be honest. That's some mechanism for advertising. You know, creating GIFs or memes or whatever. Yeah, that can destroy any, you know, multi-million-dollar campaign within seconds, and it's cheap. It's zero cost margin to even make those type of things.
Because they tap into emotions.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all advertising is.
That's all it is. It's an emotion. It's in a moment of time, right? You know, whatever you sell in that moment of time or emotion, it's just that simple. Like, we saw the like all these different things put out now around Black Lives Matter. And, you know, riding through New York, I saw all like the digital billboards, street billboards, literally just had a black square with names on it. Like, it takes zero amount of time to produce that. Yet, to your point, Rose, it's highly emotional, right? It has a certain level of impact that some over-the-top, multi-million-dollar shoot, produced whatever piece just won't have that level of impact no more. Like, people just can see through the fluff. So I know from a creative standpoint, the creative in advertising now, I think is mostly going to come from the people or a robot.
I could definitely see it coming from a robot.
Yeah. All you creative directors, your jobs are fucked.
I mean, yeah. AI, that's why they're recording everything, man. 10 years ago. So it's just like, they're going to be like, all right, we know how to make this. What about you?
How to make coffee.
You got any thoughts? Because I was going to jump to something else.
Nah, we could jump to something else. I think that was well said.
So, speaking of the future of things, concerts. Specifically, I got a list of not all, actually I might be missing one or two, all the Verzuz battles that have been going on Instagram. So you got, so let me go through the quick list real quick. You got Jill Scott versus Erykah Badu. You got RZA versus Premier. Lil
That was a great one.
Lil Jon,
both of those are good.
T-Pain. Timbaland versus Swiss Beats, which I think was the first one. The Dream versus Sean Garrett. Boy Wonder versus Hit Boy. Jonta versus Neo. Teddy Riley.
He had one?
Yeah.
I missed that one.
Teddy Riley, that was early on. Teddy Riley versus Babyface.
That was epic.
Nelly versus Chris. Manny Fresh versus Scott Storch, and Fred Hammond versus Kirk Franklin.
Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Oh yeah,
Beanie Man and Bounty Killer.
Beanie Man talked the police down during the whole Verzuz live. The police literally bum rushed them, and he talked them down like, "Yo, the world is looking. Can we not do this right now?
You don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be that." Yo, he said that with those words. Like, yo, genius dude. If you're able to talk down the police with just a mic and a camera, kudos to you, Beanie Man. And, yo, you saw how Bounty Killer just eased off the camera? He like, yo, I don't want no smoke. I probably got warrants and shit.
So what do y'all think about the future of entertainment? I mean, like, I guess first off, what were your favorite versus battles? And then from there, what do you think of the future of like this type of entertainment? People streaming, tuning in to streaming versus like going in person.
All right, I guess I'll kick it off. Like, I think my favorite one, like the one I enjoyed the most, was RZA and Premier. Just because like I grew up on for a lot of that stuff, right? So like that meant a lot to me. Yeah, exactly. And you know, although Premier is not from New York, he's from Texas, but like he's embedded in the culture in Brooklyn and New York. So like, yo, he's one of us. But no, so I just really think that you know, it just becomes the conversation of just kind of like owning some of those platforms. Like, yes, we were able to get it done on Instagram through like Verzuz. Yeah, but like it's like, okay, we know we've actually made lives interesting. Cause like I was never interested in seeing people's lives. Like I really never really cared. So now it's like, okay, we know that we can do this. We have everyone's attention. We've grabbed the audience. Now, how do we take it to the next step where we could just kind of like own this and open up our own platform for it? So,
yeah, well, like to your point, Rose, it's kind of like, again, like if you take all the content off IG, like IG literally is a wireframe. That's all it is. Like that's how well designed it is. Like their user experience doesn't get in the way of the user experience, which is the content itself. That said, it's like most of the time when Instagram does have some type of tipping point or like some type of like, you know, uptick in their user engagement, where it's going to be when they first brought stories to Instagram or when you can do videos or do whatever, it's always usually around either youth-oriented culture or Black culture, right? So the stories came from Snapchat. They stole that. And then, but the live, you know, they obviously came from like Periscope, get copying Periscope, right? So, but it just seemed to me that every time those different functions of IG specifically have a tipping point or the user engagement goes up, it's usually through our culture or the youth culture. So IG Live literally is us. It's us. It's Black people, right? Nothing against anybody else, but ain't nobody watching no Limp Bizkit or no, like, you know, Eminem battle each other, right? Nobody's gonna watch that. Zero, right? They're just not. I'm just keep it a buck, right? So even when we had like, you know, Babyface and Teddy Ryder, who have no clue how IG really worked, they still broke IG through the engagement. And then, you know, RZA and Primo was dope. I love Badu. And after a while, it became less of like, you know, a versus and more like, here's two artists that we respect, and they're just gonna go back and forth and play the music, and we're gonna conversate about it on Twitter, another platform we don't own, but our engagement still pushes it. So I just feel like, to your point, Rose, if it'd have been great if this could have lived somewhere else. But the problem with like putting it somewhere else, it's like IG versus, they almost can't even exist without each other. Like, could you do versus on Tidal? Yeah, you could, but I don't know if Tidal has that user experience like Insta Stories. IG just don't. So it's tricky, man.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point too, because like me just thinking about it, it's like it's another step, and I think we're in this world right now. It's like, all right, I know Instagram works. Like I don't want to. You might promote it on Instagram, but I don't want to have to go to another app, hit another button, you know, just to see this thing. It's like, why? From a consumer standpoint, it's like, why can't it all just live in one place? So I mean, yeah, right. I definitely agree with your point.
Now I agree.
But hey, I say this though. What Badu did that I think that the rest of them could learn from. Like once her and Jill's verses ended, she literally had you all go join her live concert on her website that's off Instagram. And you literally can like watch her do a live performance from her home, as well as the network of people that was in like, that's part of her whole cipher. And you literally can donate through Cash App from her site to these people, these different DJs, different musicians. And you can donate directly to Erica too and buy her merch all from her website. So she was capturing the user engagement. She had some chat going on and selling merch all directly from her site. So what she did that I thought was ingenious, she used stories. So she used IG Live / Versus to push people to her own property. And she engaged you in that manner because as a musician right now, she can't tour. So I thought she was genius with that.
Yep.
Sure.
Agreed.
I think also too, I don't have the numbers, but I think every person who's either their social profile has gone up, and also I think their streaming numbers has gone up too. Because I think
of course,
yeah,
Facebook on the internet, bro.
Yeah,
they need to coach it.
Now,
and my guy, 8% Teddy, 8% Teddy. That's my guy, man. Teddy Riley and his devices on 8%. That shit was hilarious.
Yo, that is hilarious, right?
Oh my
it's like,
God.
bro,
I was gonna.
all thing you got to do is just plug it in.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna.
Like you knew you were gonna do this. Like you didn't know that you were gonna like do this battle. That shit was crazy.
You know, that'd make a good. That would have been like a really good like campaign for Samsung. Like, yeah, he probably using an iPhone. That's why his shit on 8%. You use iPhone, you can do the whole verses without even worrying about charging.
Yo, he kept
Samsung
saying,
cut a check.
He kept saying my phone's on 8%. It's on 8%.
You know that was an iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah. Also, I was gonna add too, AD. You said something about all the stuff that in terms of verses. Like I think also like content. A lot of content came from that too, because you got gifts that were made.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that happened with that.
And the Twitter, yo. Truth be told, most of the engagement was on Twitter. Besides IG stories, the funny memes and sharing of like the Jonin and the playing the dozens around, like the whole engagement of all the verses, all that was on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. The last thing I'll say about it too, I think the really, really cool thing about like what Beanie Man and Bounty Killer was able to do is like they really brought it back to like
hip-hop,
their culture.
That one
because
was one.
They really brought it back to their culture because like if you go back, like they've had clashes in the 90s.
Yeah.
So like in Jamaica they have the Clash and they're both there and they're they're expressing their talents and going back and forth. So the fact that they both were in a room, they kind of like paid homage to the tradition of like being a Jamaican artist and like having that clash at war. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was dope, bro. And they just like, they said, fuck it. We here. We on Jamaica. We gonna run it. So it's gonna be a Jamaican thing. But it was truly dope, man. It was that Clash thing you talked about. It was just and that's hip hop. That's very hip hop. Hip hop comes from Jamaican Caribbean culture. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
Those are my top three.
So I wish we had our Chicagoans here to represent, but they couldn't make it. But we can't end this pod without talking about The Last Dance. So
ain't that something? We're talking about. Man, I'm sick. I love my Chicago, bro. I'm sick of them two cats. It's like you guys got 6 rings. You got the greatest player that ever played the game in modern times, probably ever. They made a 10-part documentary about that era, and it's kind of like. You don't even want to be here to talk about. Come on, man. Come on.
I mean, you got family stuff you got to deal with. I mean, maybe,
no, I'm just talking shit.
We'll do a part 2 to this. But I guess the question, I guess there's some things to highlight. What were some of your favorite parts of the documentary series? And like, did you learn? I guess the question is, did you learn anything new about Jordan and his trials and tribulations? What are your thoughts?
So for me, I don't think it was much. Like, so I caught a bit of that. Like when I was growing up, I seen Jordan win his rings, especially like the last 3. But there's not much I could say that I learned. I mean, I think the difference now is I really understood how petty Jordan is, just due to the reality that, like, all right, now we're, you know, he has everyone's attention. We're all home by way of the pandemic. And it's like this conversation between him and LeBron. So now it's like, oh, what a perfect time to, well, everyone's at home to put this documentary out, right? So, like, I'm like, my God, like, this dude is so petty, right? And then also just, you know, this is the first time, like, we've actually heard him speak about, like, anything like this. Because this was supposed to be about the Bulls, and the documentary almost became about him, right? So it's like, you know, we live in an era now where any celebrity, like, they're celebrities, but they're kind of like a part of our everyday experience, because we can go on Instagram, we can go on live, we can see them on stories, Twitter, we can hear their opinions. I think back in those days, it was like when you see Michael Jordan, or if you ever had a chance to see Michael Jordan, it was like once in a lifetime experience for most people. It's like seeing Michael Jackson, right? So I think if Michael Jordan and Michael Jackson was more so into the Instagram, Facebook era, it wouldn't have the same impact. Not saying that they still wouldn't be great, but it's like, if I feel like, you know, if I saw Michael Jordan all the time, it would just take a little bit away from him for me. Right. You know what I mean? So, but I will kind of jump into, like, I think that the best thing that I did learn, there's 2 things I learned. I didn't really know that the Bulls could have really came back in '99
and
like,
get another one.
Right, to get another one. But there was that conversation with Phil Jackson, and he's saying, hey, you know, when he walked into the office, and general manager was like, hey, man, like, I don't care if you win. If you go 80-0 and win a championship, you're not coming back. So, like, I never knew that. Like, I had no idea about that. But the thing I did appreciate about Jordan, the shit when he was talking about how, like, winning has a price, I thought that was deep. He's like, you know, winning has a price. Either this is the way I play. If you don't like it, you don't have, like, you know, then we don't have to play that way. You don't have to be a part of this. But the winning has a price. I thought that shit was like, I like that. I like that mindset.
I thought it was funny that about the whole pizza thing, that he potentially got poisoned. I thought that was wow.
Pizzagate.
Yeah, I'm like, hold on, what? They put X-Lax in his pizza or some shit?
But the thing is, real quick, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but the one thing I was gonna say about that is, like, you would have thought they would have had the pizza shop, like, I was surprised that they didn't have more info on that, being 2020, you know? But
well, it happened so long ago, right? So, yeah, you know, nobody's not gonna say that, yeah, I poisoned Michael Jordan. Like, who's gonna say that, even if you did it, right? But then again, we are in 2020, and people chase clout, so I'm sure somebody somewhere is legally figuring out a way to tell that story, and it becomes content and a meme and a GIF and a GIF or whatever, or something that's going to happen on IG Live, whatever, right? Another thing I found out was kind of funny is, you know, Jordan's petty, but then not just Jordan is petty, other cats in the industry that we never heard from are equally as petty. They just didn't get the stardom, like a Gary Payton, right? Yeah. Like, let's be real. Ain't nobody talking about Gary Payton unless you like a diehard basketball fan. Nobody is talking about Gary Payton. Yet Gary Payton felt compelled to talk about how he locked Jordan up. But okay, but Gary, you didn't win 6 rings, right?
Locked them up.
Nah, man. And what was another one? You know, like Horace Grant being called a snitch. I thought that was hilarious. The biggest thing that we all talked about on the text thread, though, is funny. These guys mentioned everybody from John Paxton to, like, second-level members of the team that I knew nothing about, to be honest with you. But they didn't even mention Craig Hodges.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that? Well, we know it's up, but what's up?
Now, I thought that was really important. Like, I was a little, I mean, honestly, I was young and I didn't really watch it. I knew about Space Jam, and I knew he won, but I didn't really watch NBA when I was that young. But I thought it was disappointing especially when Colfax mentioned Craig Hodges and his story and, you know, what he contributed to activism in the Bulls. And
oh yeah,
I think it was bullshit. They didn't mention it.
Yep. I mean, ultimately, I think this is really for, like, a lot of the younger people who didn't have an opportunity to see Jordan play or really hear him talk about his game. You know, it's one of those things, if you live through it, you understand, you have a greater understanding. But like, I have like younger cousins who, yeah, they consume Air Jordan like apparel, and they've never seen Jordan play. They might have seen a few highlights, but it's like, you know, you don't even understand the level of greatness, and even seeing Jordan at his apex, like, you know, it's just a different world. So like, he just came back to show everybody why he is the guy still, even after he's been retired like almost like 20 years.
But the funny thing is, I think even though they didn't add it, if they did a Greg Hodges piece, that would have been so relevant to now. Crazy enough, like with bless you, with everything that's going on. But yo, we got 9 minutes, but let me just say 2 things that I learned from the doc is I was shocked, and also I wouldn't say shocked, but I was impressed with how he motivated himself, because even though some people might say, yo, that's petty, and there was a lot of memes about like, oh, like Patrick Ewing saying like, yo, have a good game, and Jordan like reinterpreting that as him talking shit, and then him busting his ass, you know, sorry, Ewing.
Yeah, he had to create that enemy. That's
I love that. I love how he created in his mind an enemy and something to motivate him, to push him to win. I thought that was dope. And the second thing that I feel like was maybe a fallacy that I used to hear over the years, that they said that Jordan never went to Game 7, where I think in his last championship game versus Utah, he went to Game 7. So that was the only other thing, because I feel like I heard a lot of people say, yo, Jordan never went to a Game 7. He never went
in
to
the finals. In the finals, people were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll give him that. So I'll take that back. But yeah, man, I mean, I love seeing Rodman's story. My man's probably started load management, honestly.
Rodman started a lot of shit, bro. Like, he was ahead of his time, bro. He was definitely ahead of his time.
And Pippen too. I thought, you know, I was a little surprised that I thought Pippen would have stepped up a little bit more, being, you know, second in command. So I was kind of surprised seeing some. I mean, that's the way they showed it in the documentary, but the way they told his story, I thought he would have like did more to kind of like push the team a little bit when Jordan wasn't there. But you know.
Yeah. I think there's some conversations about people not liking how they were depicted in the documentary too. Like, I think Pippen was one of those guys that saying like they really didn't appreciate how, you know, them as a player in their career was kind of positioned, because it's all about narrative, right? So it's like, you know,
and now it's
Jordan, exactly, like Jordan, like Pippen was a really good player, but, you know, we know Jordan is the leader, and then we have to kind of like nitpick at times when Scottie was either selfish or something like that. Like, I don't think Pippen really appreciated that, because he was a major contribution to all those championships.
100%. Even Jordan said, you know, without Pippen, we just wouldn't win them. And people can probably say the same, because Jordan left for 2 years and they didn't go to the championship. So, I mean, if Pippen was like that component that allowed these guys to win these championships, then Jordan is the reason why they got to the championships, right? So you need to have both, bro. It's truly a dynamic. But unfortunately, Pippen ain't Jordan.
That's true.
It is what it is.
And one of
ain't nobody Jordan, so he shouldn't feel bad, you know.
One of the things I wanted
they should have paid him more though.
Oh yeah, hell yeah, he should have got the check. I mean, that's to me, that's just negotiation. Like, bro, like you need to. Like, I understand you were in a position where you were like, all right, am I gonna push for bread or am I gonna feed my family? But I think to me, it comes down to negotiation. Like, I feel like, yeah, you need to get the check, but
yeah, I'm not debating that.
But yo, one other thing I wanted to highlight, AD, you actually said this in the text chat. I thought that was super important in Jordan Doc, was having an OG in your life to give you guidance, whether it was Gus or Jordan Sr. I thought it was super important that they highlighted older people in Jordan's life who kind of helped give him guidance and like, you know, help them maneuver through life. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I think, you know, as a man, I mean, I'm sure you can, you know, if you identify as a man or born as a man, it doesn't really matter to me. I know as a man, you do need OG in your life. And that OG don't necessarily have to be another dude. It can just be another person, period, who can more or less provide guidance in life, right? Like your OG can be literally somebody that's not the same gender as you, or somebody who's not even from your same ethnic group, or somebody that's not even from your community. But it can be that person who can more or less be that advocate and more or less just guide you and keep you grounded, you know, when you're like getting through shit, right? In the case of Jordan, like obviously by the time he met his OG, Gus, I mean, his father had already passed, right? So it's almost like having somebody who can supplement that void that's missing, right? If nothing else, it's like, okay, I can connect with this guy on a human level. It got nothing to do with basketball, and I can do everything great in this game because I'm connected to this guy in a unique human way. So I think everybody could benefit from having a quote unquote OG. Like, you know, after my father died when I was 16, I would say my OG became this guy named Coach Miller down in Atlanta. He was ironically never my coach, but I was in his little high school fraternity, but I was not on the wrestling team because he coached the wrestling team. But I still to this day call him coach, even though he's a reverend. He runs an all boys military school. But to this day, he's still my OG on stuff like that, right? And I got different OGs in different things. So I got another OG who's a guy named Charlie Palmer, who I get advice about being a Black creative, right? And I think we all, like on this podcast, more or less definitely either have OGs for different aspects of our lives, or we can benefit from having them there, right? So I think it's vitally important that any man, or any person for that matter, is to have somebody who can help you guide you through a lot of shit in life. Because we all don't know the answers, man. We just don't have the answers, you know?
Nah, really. That was funny. Yo, Rose, I only got 2 minutes on this, so I was gonna ask, are you cool if we log out and log back in, just so I could, because I don't want to limit your OG talk to 2 minutes.
Nah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, I really didn't have much to say on it.
Oh, all right. Well, then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I guess we could wrap it up then, fellas. Yo, that's a wrap. Yo, man, I appreciate y'all jumping on, man. And you know, AD, I know you got a lot going on in your life. I know everybody got a lot going on in your life, but I appreciate you guys jumping on.
All good, brother.
Jose, I know you take care of the crib and doing a lot over there. Yeah, man. So I mean, I think there's nothing else to do but sign us out on that note.
Yes, sir. Once again, man, Abros, another great experience, man. It's your boy Easy Rose signing out. No soft talk when it comes to telling the truth.
Salute, Kings. All right.